Well, it's another beautiful day, as always. And today I want to talk to you about the illusion of you. Anyway, what I mean by that is that you have spent your entire life believing in you. And that's why you're having a hard time awakening. Okay? I don't mean to make anybody feel bad about anything, but that's one of the problems that we all sort of have to face in this world. Anyway, so what is the illusion of you? Well, the illusion of you is that you are a person who has a certain set of views, who has a certain set of preferences, who has wants, needs, fears, so on and so forth. Okay? And that is the illusion of you. But it's a lie, because you are a construct of your mind. I know that sounds crazy, but that's just the way it is. Now, why is this? Because basically, when we were growing up, okay, our parents taught us how to be. And the first thing they said was, well, you're not a real, good son, so you have to try harder. That's what they said. At least that's what they said to me. I assume they said it to everybody. Or they said, you're on probation because you're too young to do anything for anyone. And you need to shape up or ship out. Anyway, so that's the way it was, okay? Which started a mental trap inside of our minds, okay? Which was, you're not enough, okay? And this mental idea or concept just became piled onto by a lot of other concepts, okay? Like you're smart, or you're clever, or you're dumb, or you're pretty, or you're ugly. Whatever concepts happened to get thrown at you as you were growing up, they became part of who you think you are. And they added to the illusion of you. Now, I can't tell you exactly what is going on in your mind, but I can guess that you have things that you want. You have things you want to accomplish as a person, okay? The only problem with that is that when you accomplish something as a person, okay, it doesn't do anyone any good because you're unconscious, okay? And you can't plan for every eventuality, okay? I mean, look at the oil companies. They went to Nairobi to get oil, okay, and they wound up flooding the country with crude oil. There are vast tracts of Nairobi that just aren't livable anymore. And that's because they weren't conscious of what they were doing. And that's just one example. But everybody has this. Everybody goes through this. It's part of what life is. Now, how do we pierce the illusion of you? By realizing that that is not who you are. I know I've said this before, but it's just the way it is. And until you can pierce the illusion of you, the selfish you, or rather the I, the surface I, okay? There's a much deeper I, which is, could be called the soul, or it could be consciousness. It could be a lot of things. Now, we don't know everything it's generally speaking thought as, but generally speaking, that's what it is. Okay? Now, my personal opinion is it's a soul, an actual piece of God, okay, that he put in me. That's what I think. Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? I don't know. But in order to awaken, we need to be aware of, and we need to realize who we really are, which is the soul, the consciousness. Now, there's this thing called attention, okay? And we have two types of attention. The spotlight attention, which is where you focus on things, and the floodlight attention. And basically, we don't pay any attention to that floodlight attention, okay? Because we're so concerned with focusing, okay? And so we miss all the beauty, because that's just the way it is. Like this forest behind me and around me, okay, is so beautiful. But if you cannot get out of this idea of being someone, okay, or as Ram Dass says, being a somebody, then you're going to be trapped. You can't see the world as it is. You see it filtered through the ego. Now, we've talked about the ego before, and maybe the ego doesn't even exist. Maybe it's just your mind, your brain. I don't know. But something is running old programs in your head. We don't know what that something is, but it's true. Okay? Like, for instance, let's say your dad was a carpenter, and he taught you as a child how to be a carpenter. And he put all his energy into teaching you how to be a carpenter. So you've got all this stuff from your dad, how to be a carpenter. But what if you don't want to be a carpenter? What if you want to be something else? But maybe because of all the stuff your dad loaded into you, it's like haunting you. And it's like, you know, especially if your dad has passed and you're like, I want to do what my dad wanted me to do, and so I'm going to do it even though I hate it. Okay? This is just one aspect of what I'm talking about here. Okay? This program that's in your mind. Anyway, so what this all means is that you are not you. Okay? That's just it. You're not you. You think you're you. You think you're a you. Okay? But there is a deeper you. Okay? Deep down inside of you. Okay, way deep. That is really who you are. And it's important that you try to recognize that as your identity. As long as you keep identifying with this surface I. Okay? I want this. I want that. I'm going to go shopping. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. That's the surface I. Okay? And we think that's all we are because that's what we've been taught. Okay? And so that's just the way it is. But the deeper I, which I believe is the soul, is the watcher. It's watching everything. It's seeing everything. Okay? And that watcher is there for you to discover. I told you when I was very depressed about my wife leaving me, and I was crying and being very upset. During that time, I sensed that part of me wasn't upset at all. And I looked inward and found the watcher. And that's when I awoken. Okay? Or awaked. Anyway, not that it matters. Okay? Because that watcher is part of you. Okay? And you need to be aware of its existence. That's it. Okay? And that it is you. Okay? Identifying with the you that you think you are is fine. Okay? It's great. But when the unhappiness comes, which it invariably does, okay, it makes you miserable, right? That's what it does. Okay? And so we need to figure out how to escape that misery. And the best way that I can know how to escape that is to awaken. Now, what that means is for each individual. When you're on the spiritual path, you have lots of things about yourself that you don't like. For instance, I'm short. I'm 5'7". Okay? And so these things that you don't like are basically pointers to point you in the direction of that's what you have to work on. Okay? Because when you care about your failings, okay, or your weaknesses, okay, like being short or like anything else, okay, that ties into the you that you think you are. Because those weaknesses, whatever they are, or your body, or whatever it is, are part of the self, part of the person. Your soul doesn't have any weaknesses, but these weaknesses are like pointers to help you see where you need to work on yourself, which is really about not being bothered by your own weaknesses. Okay? Let's say you're addicted to cigarettes, or you like to drink a lot of beer and you can't stop, or whatever it is. That's a weakness. That's the place for you to work on yourself. By looking within, by meditating and trying to contact the now and God, or by chanting, or whatever else you can do. Many people jump in baths of ice water, and that stops the thinking for a minute. Okay? Whatever it takes, so that you can actually look at yourself. Not the self you think you are, but the self that is within you. Now, Buddhists say there is no such self. But I believe there's a soul. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Okay, I don't know. I have a Christian background, so maybe that's why I believe that. But anyway, so try and understand that these weaknesses are part of who you think you are. Okay? Your physical weaknesses, your mental weaknesses. Maybe you're going bald and it bothers you. Or maybe you're not getting dates and that bothers you. Or maybe anything else that you can think of. Okay? And these are signposts to cracking the self, the you that you think you are, open. So that you can realize or recognize who you really are. Okay? No matter how short I am, okay? It doesn't bother me, because nothing bothers me. I am not bothered by anything, because I am a soul. Okay? Now, so are you. So is everyone. So are the plants. So are the trees. So are the insects. So are the microbiome. Okay? Because everything that's alive is alive because they have the spark. And that spark is the soul. At least that's my opinion. You can say, oh no, you're wrong about that. It's something else. Okay? And God put that soul into each and every life form that exists. And you can connect to that life form and feel God's presence by stopping the thinking. I mean, I get so much joy and bliss from these trees when I meditate out here in the woods, which I do all the time, because it's just so beautiful and makes me feel good. Because these trees are giving me the bliss. These trees are giving me the joy, because they are joyful that I'm out here connecting with them. And the joy is really coming from God, okay? So, these things, okay, which are really a way of finding your way, okay? And of trying to realize that the you that you think you are We very selfishly hold that you into ourselves. Oh, I'm you. I'm me. Okay? And that's who we think we are. And no matter what, that's it. Okay? But as long as that's the case, we're going to suffer. So, whatever it is that the you that you think you are is afraid of, feels bad about, those are like anchors, anchoring you to your body, anchoring you to you. Okay? And so you need to look at those things by going into the now. You can't look at them when you're unconscious. And when you go into the now and you look into what it is, okay, you'll realize that it doesn't matter. Okay? And then you will begin to awaken. Okay? I know that's really hard to do. Okay? I've taught you how to go into the now by going into your Chen, inhabiting your Qi, inhabiting your body. Okay? And, so on and so forth. By meditating. And there's lots of other methods that you can do. Okay? And while you're in the now, just turn your eye around and look. And at what's going on with you. And see the things that you don't like about yourself. See the things that you are afraid of. See the things that you feel are going to hurt you. All these things are pointers to where you need to eliminate the anchors. Don't you want to eliminate the anchors? Don't you want to get rid of that weight? Of course you do. So, look, I don't know everything, and maybe some of the things I think I know are wrong. I'm certainly okay with that. Okay? But I do know that this you that you're perpetuating by feeling bad about yourself or parts of yourself isn't helping you. Okay? And the way to not feel bad about them is to accept them. Look into yourself. Okay? And accept what is. I am short. That's what is. And I accept that. So it doesn't bother me. You are a redhead. You are a victim of crime. You are whatever it is you are that bothers you. And it does bother you. Okay? Needs to be looked at. It needs to be accepted. So that you can escape the trap or the illusion of you. And that illusion is going to persist because, of course, the ego wants it to persist. Because it helps the ego out. When you feel bad about something or feel bothered by something, the ego goes, oh, here we go. I don't know what it does, but it's happy. Okay? Because it's trying to make you feel bad so that it can feel big or better. It's trying to control you so that you can be unhappy. And that unhappiness makes it feel happy. Okay? So, just try to remember, okay, that these things that bother you about yourself, okay, whether it's your big toe or your knee, okay, or whatever it is, okay, it's not you. I know that's hard to understand, but that's the way it is. And when you focus on these things, which you do, I mean, I certainly did when I was unconscious, then you basically ignore or block out all the rest of everything. Okay? Even though you are aware of it, you're not seeing it for what it is. And that's just the way it is. So, every person has things about it that aren't happy about. And that's just the way it is. And these are signposts on how to escape from the illusion. Okay? And I mean, you can continue living under this illusion. And you can say, oh, well, I am me, and therefore I don't need anything, blah, 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 blah. I mean, that's certainly an option, okay? But I don't think you'd be watching this channel if that's what you wanted. What you want is to be free. Anyway, so try to remember who you are. I know it seems like it's something that is not in your memory, but it is, because it's in your soul's memory. Okay? And that soul is who you are. If you don't like the word soul, your consciousness. Okay? Your consciousness, your awareness is the most important thing about you. Everything else doesn't matter, including your big toe or your weird elbow or the fact that you are afraid of cats or whatever it is. Okay? All that stuff isn't as important as who you really are. And these things are like hang-ups. And they're hanging you up into this person that you think you are, this you. Okay? And I know that plenty of people have wished they weren't you themselves. Okay? Because that's just the way it is. And if you're tired of being you, okay? Which I was, okay? Then there's only one way to not be you. And that is to accept what is. You are a soul. You are consciousness. You are not this selfish, self-obsessed person that you think you are. Okay? And if you say, oh, I'm not selfish, everyone is selfish because you want to eat food, don't you? You want to, things. You go to the store and buy things, don't you? Well, that's selfish. Especially when there are literally millions of people who don't have things and can't buy food. Okay, I mean, it's not selfish in the sense of, being selfish, but it is selfish in the sense of, we have a great life here because we have everything that we could possibly want. But you know what? A lot of people aren't happy because they think they're them. Anyway, so that's pretty much the way it is. And if we fight against the isness, which we do, then we're going to suffer. And you might say, well, I love that about me. I love that I have a crooked toe, or I love that I have something special about me, or something different, or whatever it is, okay? And that's fine. I'm not saying you shouldn't love yourself, okay? What I'm saying is that if it's a hang-up, which it is, and hang-up is kind of an old term from the 60s, okay? Then it's going to make your life unhappy. That's it. And it's pulling you into you. Okay? Just like your body is pulling you into you. Now, this is my body. This is my face, my chest, my elbow, my everything. I possess this body. No, you don't possess it. You only have it on the long run for as long as you can live. And then it goes back into the environment. And the environment is everything, because I am part of my environment. I am co-equal with it. I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. You cannot have me without the environment. You can't talk about me without talking about the environment, because otherwise, how can you understand me? Okay? And that's the same thing with you. Okay? And this environment, which in this case is filled with life, okay, is part of me, and I am part of it. And you cannot separate the two, just like you cannot separate me from you. You cannot separate a lot of things from a lot of things, light from dark, because the idea that there is light and the idea that there is dark and that they're two different things is dualism, which leads to more suffering. Anyway, so try and remember the you that's real, because the you that you think you are isn't real. Okay, maybe you have some ID with your face on it and your name on it and all that, but it's not real in the sense of the universe, okay? Which is part of what you are, and you are part of it. And it does not care about you. It cares about your consciousness, because the universe wants to be conscious. Okay? At least that's my opinion. Okay? And so the consciousness is what's important about you. Anyway, I know all this stuff is very hard to try and understand, but just try to think of yourself as a bundle of problems. And all these problems are your signposts to help you get free of the traps. Okay? Whatever your problems are, I don't know, but it could be anything. Maybe whatever. Okay? Maybe your mom died and you can't seem to get right with yourself since then. And you just all the time depressed or all the time unhappy. Or maybe something else. And this unhappiness, this suffering, okay, is part of you because you've made it a part of you. And you say, I am depressed. You're saying, I am a depressed state, which is not true. You're not a depressed state, okay? You are a soul and a person, but primarily a soul, okay? And by saying I am depressed or I am sad or I am anything, you're taking possession of the feeling. Which I know it may not seem like a very important thing, okay, to not do that, but it is, because that's just the way it is. The more you take possession of the feelings, the more you take possessions of your kids, of your wife, of your house, of your car, by saying, it's mine, then the more trapped you are, the more deeply sucked into the person you are. Are you having a problem with your wife? Are you having difficulty? Maybe you're thinking about getting a divorce, and maybe she is. Well, that's because you're wrapped up in all these things, all these illusions, okay? And that's just the way it is. You know, I mean, relationships start out good and end up bad. Why do you think that is? Because you get too concerned, too selfishly obsessed with yourself, okay? And don't pay enough attention to the other person, okay? That's what it is, okay? And so the key, which you use to open the other person's heart, becomes eroded, and you can't open their heart anymore, and they can't open yours, and so there's no love. And that's how it happens. But there's a way that you can preserve that key, and that is by spending time paying attention to each other. That's it. Okay? I didn't mean to get into a relationship rant or anything. I just using that as an example of how it gets you, okay? If you pay attention to any living thing, okay, you can connect with it. Even if it's another person, if there's love present, then you can connect. And that connection can be either strong or weak, okay? I remember some book I read where somebody created a string between two people that was their connection. And it couldn't be seen, but it was there. And that's how I think of the connections. And however far or near you are, that string connects you to the people you love. And obviously it's just a metaphysical string. But that's what it is. And if you don't pay attention to the other person in your relationship, then that person is going to drift away because there'll be no connection. You have to pay attention first, then the connection happens. Okay? Anyway, I guess that's enough for this talk. I love you all because you're me, and we are all one thing. We are all part of God, which is really the important thing in life. And that's why we need to know it. And you know it by recognizing your soulness. Okay, well, if you can, comment, please. Or you can share. Okay? And let other people know that these videos exist. I notice that at times people don't watch, very many people watch the videos, and sometimes a lot of people watch them, and I don't really care about that. Because even if one person watches the video, I'm reaching one person. Okay? So, if you have one person, if you know one person that maybe could learn something or get something out of these videos, please share the video to them. All right, well, I guess I got to go. Take care of yourselves. Have a great day.